Hi, I'm Kate Ralston. I am a member of the Alumni Engagement Team at Hope College, and on behalf of the Alumni Board of Directors, I'm so excited to be here at Hope Scarves in Louisville, Kentucky, to honor and celebrate Lara MacGregor, who is our 2021 Distinguished Alumni Award winner. At the age of 30, a successful associate vice president of development and 7 months pregnant with her second son, Lara MacGregor was told she had breast cancer. While going through treatment, she had been blessed by a friend of a friend who offered scarves to wear on her head after losing her hair to chemo. That chemo thankfully sent her into remission, and when Lara went to return the scarves to their owner, she was told to just pass them along to another woman who needed them. The concept sparked an idea in Lara's heart, an idea that blossomed into Hope Scarves, a nonprofit organization in Louisville, Kentucky, of which Lara is the founder and director. Hope Scarves collects scarves and stories from people who face cancer and then sends them to others in treatment, creating a sisterhood of traveling scarves. Under Lara's leadership, Hope Scarves has raised over $1.1 million for metastatic breast cancer research and has sent out more than 17,000 scarves to every state and 26 countries. Lara also manages a successful podcast and blog titled My Hopeful Life, which chronicles her journey as she now finds herself fighting against stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. She recently shared an inspirational webinar with current students and alumni during Alumni Weekend 2021, highlighting a lifetime of turning heartbreak into hope. Lara is an example of the great impact one person can have on the world and has literally lived out her hopeful mission in the global community. She is an advocate, a successful businesswoman, a loving mother and wife, and an inspirational leader. We are overjoyed to be able to name her a Distinguished Alumni Award recipient for 2021.
Lara, it is an honor to be with you here at Hope Scarves. On behalf of Hope College, we are so inspired by you and proud of you for all that you're doing. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about all that you're doing. But before we talk about what you're doing now, let's jump back. Let's jump all the way back to your time at Hope College. What was it about your time at Hope College that you view now as transformational to put you on the path that you've been on?
It's hard to think of just one thing.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a sense that I received at Hope College. And it was a sense of connection and community, a sense of feeling like I belonged somewhere and that I was supported and I was loved, with the friends that I made that are, lifelong friendships that have continued to this day, with my professors who knew who I was, who cared about me, who encouraged me, who challenged me. Or I think a lot about the time I had with Delta Phi sorority and just the friendships I had, the leadership opportunities, and just a sense that this place was such a safe place to grow and learn and try new things, and gave me a confidence about myself that was really helped be a springboard, through the rest of my career.
Are there specific professors you remember who invested in you?
I love my friend Kelly and I always talk about Professor Pocock's public speaking presentation and how he taught us to make large, purposeful gestures that were indicative of what we were trying to say. I do a lot of public speaking. I almost always am like, what are my large, purposeful gestures? I think that having the chance to be a creative writer in college, where you are challenged and encouraged, helped me have the confidence and also the skills to be a writer now, today.
There's so much about your story that embodies liberal arts, and for you, a communications and English major, now providing hope through Hope Scarves, but also supporting medical research, supporting cancer research. And there's so much about that story that models what liberal arts is and ought to be.
Yeah.
How do you reflect on your liberal arts education and how that got you here?
Well, I think when I was 18, I would have hated to have been pigeonholed into a career or a track that I thought maybe I wanted to take. And at Hope, I started as an education major. My parents are both teachers, and I loved my classes I took for the first couple of years, But I realized even though I'm really creative, I had to make a bulletin board one time, and I was like, I kind of hate this. I don't want to be in a classroom. I want to be like out doing, but I had to go through the steps of trying and learning and seeing the perspective. And I think that's what liberal arts in an undergraduate setting gives you, is the chance to explore and to try a variety of things. And I knew I wanted to be a connector. I wanted to use my skills and my talents to help make the world a better place, but I had no idea what major was going to lead me to that. And so it was a combination of communications and English and some of my education classes, but also the chance to be a dancer and dance in the student production and take classes that helped me think broadly about areas that I maybe didn't know about before. Experience. And I went on from Hope to get a master's degree in a master's in public administration. So then I could hone in on nonprofit work and fundraising and the skills I needed to have a career in nonprofit. But it was the liberal arts foundation that prepared me to go on to graduate school to do that and work in the nonprofit sector.
Speaking of a career in the nonprofit world, you've had a remarkable career. You started an amazing organization, Hope Scarves. Let's talk a little bit about Hope Scarves. Tell me the story of how it was founded, and then talk to me a little bit about what Hope Scarves is doing today.
So the mission of Hope Scarves is to support people facing cancer through scarves, stories, and research. And the idea happened from my own personal experience. When I was 30 years old and 7 months pregnant, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And my world got turned upside down. I was healthy, at the top of my game. We never saw this coming. I had no family history. Cancer just rocked our world. And a friend of a friend sent me a scarf and a note that said, "You can do this." And I wore Kelly's scarves throughout my treatment. And every time I put that Hope scarf on, I felt her love and support. And just knowing this other young woman had faced cancer helped me believe that I could too. And when I had finished my treatment, I asked her for her address to send the scarf back. And she said, "Just find somebody else who can use it." And so I went to a conference for young women with breast cancer. And I met a woman named Roberta from Pittsburgh. And I gave her this scarf. And I realized how much this piece of fabric had meant to me, both in receiving it when I needed it, but also in passing it on and telling Roberta the same words of encouragement that Kelly had told me as she was starting her treatment, and how it helped me heal and reflect by sharing my hope with her. And so that day I started thinking, I'm going to start a nonprofit organization, and it's going to be called Hope Scarves, and we're going to collect scarves and stories from people who had faced cancer and pass them on to others in treatment. I knew all how nonprofits worked, I knew how fundraising worked, but I hadn't ever started one of my own. And so I just started writing a business plan and putting together the pieces of how it would work. And I started it with my 2-year-old volunteer by my side in my spare bedroom of my house, and just started collecting scarves and stories and networking, and built a website. And the momentum really grew from this authentic connection of storytelling, of support, of community, of helping women feel less alone through their treatment, and beautiful, and wrapping that scarf around their head or around their shoulders or however they want to use it, that they can feel connected to someone else who's faced cancer. Because you can be surrounded by people who love you and still feel really alone until you connect with someone else who's walked in your shoes and who can really relate to what you're going through. From my spare bedroom in my house to now a bustling office in an international nonprofit organization, we've sent nearly 20,000 Hope Scarves to every state and 26 countries. And we've also expanded our mission to raise money for metastatic breast cancer research, which is really very important to me. My cancer, unfortunately, like every cancer survivor's worst nightmare, came back in 2014. So 7 years after my original diagnosis. and was metastatic. So stage 4 had spread to my bones. And at that time, we looked at what we were doing at Hope Scarves and realized that scarves and stories are beautiful, they're practical, they're inspiring, but they're not going to save anyone's life. And if we really wanted to change the way people experience cancer, we also wanted to be part of investing in science and in research, and specifically metastatic breast cancer research. Because of the millions of dollars raised for breast cancer, only about 5% goes to metastatic breast cancer, for helping people who have already metastasized live longer, have more treatment options. The average life expectancy for metastatic breast cancer is 2 to 3 years. And I just, as a young mom with my little boys, I felt like I had to try to do anything I could to change those statistics. And it's also been a really beautiful way for me to help share the more complete story of breast cancer. I think a lot of time people think, oh, you get breast cancer, you're in treatment for about a year, and then you're good, and you go on, and you're a survivor, and you celebrate survivorship. And though I did that for 7 years, I didn't do anything wrong for my cancer to metastasize. I was completely out of my control. And then what the reality is for people who become stage 4, and how few treatment options there are, and just helping tell that whole story of breast cancer has really helped for me to help give a voice to a lot of people who are living with metastatic disease and who didn't feel part of the breast cancer narrative. And so I've been really trying to change that, to tell the broader picture. And so we don't use words like beating cancer at Hope Scarves. We talk about facing cancer. And there's a bell in a lot of cancer centers that you ring when you're done with treatment and you finish chemo or radiation. And as a metastatic patient, I will never finish treatment. I'm be in treatment the rest of my life. So I ring the bell every time. Every time I finish treatment, I ring the bell, because I just think I got through today. And that's how I try to live my life, is just finding joy and hope one day at a time, not waiting for the storm to pass, but finding light and love in the midst of the storm.
It's amazing. Like I said at the beginning, we're so proud of you. I'm just inspired sitting here with you. My mom passed away from metastatic breast cancer, so this is personal to me, and we at Hope are just so proud of you. I just have to say, we were walking around and one of your colleagues described you as someone who spews hope everywhere you go. And that's exactly been my experience in the brief time I've been with you. And just over the course of this conversation, you're exuding hope in the midst of very challenging times. You started Hope Scarves. You have a podcast called A Hopeful Life, is that right? And you're a person who spews hope, and you went to Hope College. It seems like there's a theme here, a theme of hope.
Absolutely. It's funny because here in Kentucky, where I live right now, people aren't as familiar with Hope College. And so as I tell them about Hope College, they're like, you went to Hope College? Like, seriously, like, they find that hilarious.
It's on brand.
It's so on brand. Hope to me is like, it's like faith. It's like believing in something that you can't see or hold, that is not contingent on the outcome. It is bigger than you or me, or the scan, or the test result. It is like my foundation. It's also kind of like my pilot light that, just keeps burning. Sometimes it gets dimmer, sometimes it's really bright, but it is like just this light that guides me. And, I believe the bravest thing is to always hope. And I have certainly been challenged in that. I have been in times when I have lost my hope, or it's gotten very dim. I've had very dark days through my cancer experience. And I think I come back to hope. I come back to this deep understanding that there's something bigger than me, than my situation. There is something more powerful than I understand. And for me, I use the word hope to embody that. Other people, have other words, but for me, it's always been hope.
My take is it's probably not a coincidence. I think God brought you to Hope College so that you could be an ambassador for what the ideal means in the world. So thanks for all you're doing. We're inspired by you and proud of you.
Thank you.
Lara, we are so proud of you and inspired by you. And on behalf of Hope College, it's my honor to give you the 2021 Distinguished Alumni Award.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I am so humbled and honored to receive this award, and it just means so much, not only to have had the experience as a student and all that I've learned from Hope, but to be recognized for the life I've led after. It's truly meaningful. Thank you.